Okay, here we are again on the 2003 GTX 4-tack conversion to 2-tack, part 4. The engine is out. I've got it on the bench ready to assemble. Got the 2 halves of the cases cleaned up, cleaned off the crank, checked all the bearings. There's no play at all, no up and down, very little side to side. Seals are good. So we're looking good. So I picked up some 5910 in small tubes. Gonna put that all on here, roll it out on both halves, and put this thing together. Okay, 5910. I've never used a small tube, so we'll see how this works. Does that look good? And this goes in. That's the mag. Lots to line up. Good. That cover has to go on upside down. I put this together before without the cap, and then you have to take it apart, so good to remember. Looks good. Clean up. Not much there, but cover going on. Okay, I'm a dummy. I'm the dumbest dummy ever. Oh my God. Got to put the counterbalance in. Starting over. Like it never happened. Want to see the alignment? I'll show you. There's the 2 blue. Are we good? Sequence 12 in sequence. All 27s. Let's pull that off. I love working with this. You can break these brass fittings off so easily. Pliers. And just like that. Well, it's smooth. And we'll throw in some pistons. I can take those bolts, get rid of those. And some of this assembly lube. Jeez. Pretty gooey stuff. Them yet, so I'll just leave these on for now. PTO, but the arrow, that thing has got to flip around the other way. Oh. There we go. Good. Clip time, and I don't want it to go flying in the motor. Well, keep trying. I flipped the motor around. I got that one on. It's just a battle. These are super tight. Oh, and the clip is there on this one. That means I gotta get in there. How fun. Looks good. See, it's got that little notch right there, and that just made those clips so stiff, but you know what? They're in. Arrows pointing towards the exhaust. I think we'll pop the starter in, and then the cylinder head, and so on. Cylinder. And I just popped in the compressor. A little bit of lube. And the bolt, this is the only bolt I use the red Loctite on. That'll do her. We are good to go. And I'm going to put the cap on. Geez, I cleaned this all out, but might just put a dribble of oil in there too. cleaned up. Ooh, that was a nice seal. And 243. Still spins smooth. That's a pain. The cylinder for the compressor will raise and lower until you get the cap on, but I don't want to put the cap on until we put the cylinder head on. And starter, I put a little bit of grease over the O-rings and everything so that thing slides in and out easier in case the starter does go. Oh yeah, that fit nice. And some 243 again. No, reversed again. Reversed again. All right, that's in. And what do we got here? It's all nicely lubed. I'm gonna put a little bit more grease in there just for fun. And you put it in this way. And the white plastic cover. And some Loctite. Good. Next project, flywheel. Where's the key? Down at the bottom. It's in good shape. Loctite. Lock washer and nut. It still has some of the old Loctite in there. Look at all that crud. $18 by $1.5. Getting all the white Loctite out. That thing does not want to thread on. And I'm not sure if the crank has got a little bit of a something going on. Seems to be. Well, crumb. Just gonna spin it on by hand. Oh yeah. That's amazing, just a little bit of crud. Relock tight. So remember that 18 by 1.5, very handy to know. Oh, that is so nice. And I use a 1 1/16 to hammer that on. There she be. I don't have a torque wrench for that, and I've never had one fly off. They're a fight to get off every single time, so. All right, I think we can put the cover on now. SAE 30, 40 mils. Goes through the vent tube. That's the 30 weight oil. And you get air bubbles. And that's it. Vent back on. Oh boy, everything I do seems to have a trouble threading in. There we go. Good to go. All right, so here we are. I ordered some new rings. I just wanted to refresh those. I did hone out the cylinders already. And in looking at the old rings, look at the ring gap. I don't know what that is. There's the new one. That's 0.018 gap. That's at the maximum. This probably needed a bore job, but we're going with the hone and new rings. So that will definitely be an improvement. So I'm going to put those rings on there, and we're going to put that cylinder on and get this thing finished up and ready to install. And my favorite, Permatex Ultra Gray, we're going to put that all around here and then put the gasket on. And I like to just put that on in case there's any little microscopic holes that have to be filled. And this gets messy. Gasket. What do you think? It's number 5 gasket. I should have tested this to see which way it goes. But that's looks like it. Yep. A little bit of extra out of here. Good. Now we got to do the same with the cylinder. Now I think we'll put some assembly lube on here. Slide that sucker on there. And this stuff is goopy. I've tried using two-stroke and it makes a huge mess. All right, we're gonna try and drop this on. It is gonna be a fight. I've labeled the bottom pin and the top pin in the piston, so I know where to squeeze them, and it is gonna be a fight. And this is what happens. The piston pulls the gasket. So you got to watch 12 things at once. I guess we'll put this side on first, and then I'll roll this side over and try not to mangle everything. Exhaust is that way. Make sure you don't put this on backwards. I've done that before too. That's one side. Wow. Okay. Now we can bolt that sucker down. And there's the torque sequence. And moly coat they want near the top of the bolt, up here, and 243 at the bottom. So that's what we're going to do. Guess I'll put moly coat on everything and then we'll go back and Loctite everything. How about that? And the 243, and we'll start dropping bolts. All right, we'll run those in and then torque them down in the sequence. sequence, they should be diagonals, right? 1, 2, so. Eight. Torque wrench set to 40. Surprised I don't go 2 runs, but so the top bolts are asking for moly coat on the threads and putting the Loctite around the top of the bolt so they cover them all up here with Loctite. I've seen that. I don't know how thrilled I am with that. That's a big space to fill to get that Loctite. So I'm going to Loctite the threads and forego the moly coat business. So let's do that. Gasket, I got 1 dowel pin here and 1 stuck in the head. Has that got crud on it? There's the dowel pin there. Beautiful. That is so smooth. And here we go, 10 million bolts again. Now this guy. I'm gonna just put Teflon on that. Next plan, put the compressor on so that this sleeve doesn't keep lifting up, because you see how it wants to lift up when I'm rotating the engine. And we gotta tighten that down too. This guy, dowel pin goes in the dowel pin hole right there. Loctite again. Run those down. Sweet. I think I'm going to need an extension. Good. See if she rolls over. Yeah. Looking good. So now that's not going to come out. That's not a problem. Air injectors could be a problem for me because I sold the ones that went with this head. I'm hoping that these will work. But I might have to put another O-ring there. Maybe they'll work. If not, I gotta go get some air injectors. Maybe. And some bolt-ons. Neighbor's cutting some concrete, so could be a little noisy. Loctite again. And we'll torque those down to 20. While the wrench is setting, we'll pop the RAVE valves in. And
Yeah, so 20 is it. Gotta look up some of these specs.
all right. Air pressure sensor, or temperature, map sensor, temperature, pressure. Let's put these guys on. That's with a 10 mil bolt and a ton of Loctite. And, gee, did I get this guy? No. Now this one. What? Okay, now we need, what's next? Raves, and then the exhaust. And rave it up. Put some new rubber gaskets on there. Nothing to do to these because we didn't change the pistons, so we don't have to file the raves. We'll have to pull that off. Need a bigger bit, longer one. Still turns over. Really nice too. Alright, moving on. Exhaust manifold. Ultra copper. And same thing here. There we go. Now I got it. Bolts on the bottom first, little guys. Try and hold that gasket somewhat in place. And this guy. Have a boo inside. Not bad. Little cruddy in there, but it's going to be cruddier. And I'm going to change out this gasket here, I think. Although it is nice sticking out. Maybe not. Okay, I'm going to torque those down. I think I did. Okay, that's that. So before I put the Magneto on, I want to prime it. And we got to pick a throttle body. Is there one we like over the other? No. I'm going to take this one, going to pull those hoses off, pull that hose off. And then I got to hook up the oil and throttle cable on here, and this will go on after the engine's dropped in. And moving on to the Magneto, I'm going to prime the oil pump. So I just put a little hose pipe on the bottom of the oil pump, and I'm going to fill this up with oil. And we're going to run the pump and get everything all primed up. Whoa, that's way too much. Don't want too much in here. It's going to spill all over. Like that. Yeah. Oh, this stuff just gets everywhere. Look at that. So much for the not wanting to make a mess. It's on everything. Okay. Now, there's a screw, a bleed screw. I'm going to undo that on the back side. Right there. Oh yeah, did you see that run down? All right, let's see if we can start pumping. Don't have enough elevation there. Let's see if we can start pumping oil. Got the little plastic fitting in there. Throttle is the oil controller. is wide open as well. Right here, I've spun that all the way around and I'm using the clamp to hold it fully open. Then I put the hoses just in the holes where the screws go on the side, just so that they don't flop all over. And I think this has the one run in reverse. And we need a good battery. Ugh. Yes, it has to run in reverse. You can see the oil moving through the lines. Bottom one's going, but not much is coming out right now. There's a lot of air in there. You're gonna get all that air out. Here it comes. I'd say that's good and primed. Make sure that bleed screw is tight. And it is. Now we're going to assemble this onto the engine. Here we go. And this is going to be messy. Make sure our plastic cap is in there. Without that little plastic cap, it's game over. Clip those there for now. Gonna make a bit of a mess, but not too bad. This is what I had clamped on here for the oil pump to hold it wide open. $10 Nm. Okay, let's get this sorted out here. These are tight. We happy with that? I think so. Now if I can just get that to clamp. There we go. There's one. Good. Last one. Beautiful. And then I'd say that looks good. Got one more thing to do, and that's that water hose at the front. This thing is pretty brittle. I'm gonna try heating it up and see if it can go on and actually seal or not. That's a lot more pliable now. And that goes on there. And then I just got to heat the top one up. Clamp her down. And the bottom one. Which is not easy to reach. Well, guys, I think that's it. She's all put together, ready to go in. Fuel rail's got to go on. I'm not so sure about that fuel injector. A little corroded in there. I might swap that out before I put it on, but I'm not going to put it on until it goes in the machine because it gets in the way when you're dropping it in. So, yeah, everything is ready to go. Everything in here is ready to go. I'm going to just pull these bolts, throw some Loctite in them. And we're going to give these mounts a try and see what happens. I'd like to put a gusset or something in behind there, but I also got to get a wrench in there. I've got a ton of weld, like 3 or 4 passes underneath. So I guess we're going to see. It also rests on the bottom of the boat here and here. I'm going to put a little something underneath, maybe a small piece of nylon just to protect that against the hull when it's vibrating. But you know what, this is all an experiment, so we're just going to give it a try. I put the throttle body in here, hooked up the throttle cable to it, and the oil cable. Nothing fancy there. So I think that's about as far as we're going to go in this video. Sorry about that, got a little bit sidetracked. Yeah, so next video, engine goes in and we're going to do a test on the hose. If all is good, throw the drive in and away we go. So I think that's it. Nothing else I can think of. Got a few little things to pop in here, but I don't want to pop that in until we put the engine in. So the next one is the big video. So until the next one, thanks for watching.